So I'm the type of person who's always fought against this idea that there's a such thing as a money grab. And that's because I always felt like everything's a money grab. From the movie that you feel like is the most artistic thing in the world to a sequel 20 years after the first one came out that's banking on nostalgia. It's all about making money. But there has never been a more present example of a money grab than Joker Folie. The Joker Folie follows Arthur Fleck after the events of the first film, and now he's in Arkham Asylum where he meets Harley Quinn. They become codependent on one another. Arthur Fleck begins exploring different parts of himself through this relationship, or so the film would have you to believe. Joker Folie attempts to trick its audience by pretending that it's offering anything new. It is literally the same story, but a different genre. You know how you'll have a very popular song that comes out, and a few weeks or months later, a remix comes out to that song, but the remix isn't really anything different. It's the same two verses from the original artist, and then they just tack on a new verse from a rapper. What Todd Phillips and Joaquin attempt to do by introducing Harley Quinn and Harvey Dent into this movie is try to trick you into believing that it's something that is actually not. This movie pretends to be an exploration of what happens when someone romanticizes a serial killer, when they make that person's mental health attractive in their eyes and they want to keep up the fantasy. This is essentially what's happening with Harley Quinn throughout the film. She's trying to get Arthur Fleck or Joker to fulfill this romantic fantasy that she's laid out in her own head, and goes as far as to insert herself into situations that she would not be in otherwise, other than wanting to fulfill that fantasy. Joker already had fans of his in the first film who are ready to ride or die for him, people who were celebrating him, who wanted to see him freed. The other part of this that ain't new is examining the murders from the first film. When Robert De Niro's character grills Arthur Fleck about the people that he's killed, we get that cross-examination. That's not new. When we have the psychologist come in and talk to Arthur Fleck about why he did what he did during the course of these events, that's also not new. I'm being dead ass. There's nothing in this film that you'll learn about Arthur Fleck that you didn't already know. And by the time we get to the climax of the film, which I was riding with the film up until that point, waiting for it to do something, when it actually does make that move, it just falls all apart. It feels like, so you don't have anything to say. You're just here for the money. It's like, okay, I've made this already. How can I spice it up? Oh, let's add a musical element to it. I can't lie, the musical element of this film is produced well. The performances are amazing. Lady Gaga plays her role incredibly. Everyone does a really good job in this film. But even if you have great set design, costuming, performances, musicality, score, all of these things that are required on a technical level to make a great film, if you leave out the main ingredient, which is an actual good and interesting story, then all of that falls flat. I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I didn't particularly like Civil War, the A24 movie that came out earlier this year, even though it had all of the technical qualities that a great film should have. The story fell flat for me. And in this one, I struggle to see where a story is. And make no mistake, just because this is a comic book movie, because it stars variations of characters from DC Comics, what this is, first and foremost, is a character study, as the first one was. Who was this movie for? Why make a remix that just has the same two verses, but you just slapped a Ludacris feature on it? I'm not gonna lie, you don't have to call remix. Something that I can't even find on any of the streaming service is one of the best remixes of all time, even though it's really just the same two verses by Usher and a Ludacris feature. So essentially, this is the same story, but a different genre. That to me is unsatisfactory. So how would I rate this movie? Honestly, this is probably going to be somebody's favorite movie, but it sure as hell ain't mine. I enjoyed the first Joker movie. I will never revisit this one, because you're not going to play in my face and tell me that you're offering me something new when it's the same old, same old. So how did you feel about Joker Folie? Did you enjoy the musical aspects of it? Did you feel like it offered something new? Did you learn something new about Arthur Fleck that I may have been missing? Where do you fall on your experience with this movie? Is this your favorite movie? Because it could be. Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys next time.